Hello, my name is Greg Rich. I'm the marketing professor who's teaching this course, which is an introduction to marketing. This video lecture is to introduce you to the course and Canvas and to tell you a little bit about how to navigate yourself through the course and do well. So let's start with the Canvas page. So this is the home page of the Canvas page for our course. You'll see right at the top there's a link to the syllabus, a Word file, which is our syllabus. I recommend that you read through that carefully. There's a link to the textbook, how to buy that. You might want to pause this video right now and purchase that. I recommend the cheapest version, which is the online version for $35.95, and make sure you buy version 4.0. Okay, so the first module is the introductory module. That's what we're in right now. And like all the modules, there's a lecture quiz and a reading quiz. Okay, the next module will be the chapter 1 module. There's a lecture quiz and a reading quiz. And the lecture quiz, to do well on that, you listen to these video lectures, and I'll give you fill in the blank questions, and I'll usually give you the answer, not always, but I'll often give you the answer to the question. So it's just an incentive to watch the video lecture and hopefully acquire some knowledge from that. And then the reading quiz is a list of multiple choice questions over the readings, okay? And the reading quizzes have a 30-minute time limit, so be sure to study the chapter before starting the reading quiz. The lecture quizzes do not have a time limit. But again, we're covering the syllabus in this introduction module, and we're also covering a little bit of background about me. So that's what I'll talk about now. So let me call up the PowerPoint that will introduce the course to us. And on the first page, you'll see the title of the textbook and the authors. Make sure, again, you get that book with those authors and that version 4.0. And I recommend the online version. So it says down there at the bottom, Flat World Knowledge, get this online version for $35.95. So the answer to LQ1, lecture quiz question 1, is online. ONLINE. That's one word, no spaces or anything. So what I would do is I would perhaps write that down on a piece of paper with a pencil, or most of you will maybe just type it in directly into the Canvas page, which is underneath this video lecture. So again, get the online version for $35.95. The answer to LQ1 is online, that one word. And be sure you get the right book. So we're looking for version 4.0. So enter the digit 4, just the single digit 4 as the answer to LQ2. And also I want to make sure you have the right book. So ideally you would have bought it by now. Look at the word that's at the center of figure 1.1 in chapter 1 and write down that word, and that's the answer to LQ3, that one word. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, I think it's a 5-letter word. And finally, I want you to write down the 2-word title of chapter 12. I know some of the earlier versions of this book have a different chapter 12, so I want to make sure you have the right book that has the right chapter 12 to write. So look up the title of chapter 12 and write down the title, and again, that's 2 words. Academic honesty is very important. All the work in this course should be on your own. There shouldn't be plagiarism. Students who get caught cheating in this course will likely fail the course. So the answer to LQ5 is cheating, CHEATING. And this happens with some regularity. Every year or two, it seems like someone blatantly cheats and I have to fail them. So please do not do that. And then the last question on the quiz is for you to tell me a little bit about yourself. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been teaching here at Bowling Green for many years, since the 90s. I came out of Indiana University with a marketing PhD, and my area of research and expertise in academia is sales and sales management. So I teach a lot of personal selling courses and sales management courses here at Bowling Green. but I also really enjoy teaching this Introduction to Marketing course. In fact, in terms of hobbies of mine, one of my weird hobbies is to play music and write songs. And I've written several songs for the different chapters of this book. And so a lot of the video lectures, if not all the video lectures, will include a little music video of one of my songs to help you kind of learn the material in a different way too. So here is an example of a song that I wrote for new freshmen this past year. That's a little bit relevant to everybody, that gives advice about how to do well in school and college. So I'll play that song right now for you. So here's the song. Again, advice about how to do well here at Bowling Green State University. Get to know your professors. Try to stay organized. Be sure to eat some healthy food and get a little exercise. Buy the book and do the reading. Learn how to write. Study hard in a quiet place. Get your sleep at night. Then take good notes and listen carefully in class. And when you get confused, don't hesitate to ask. And by the way, don't even think of skipping class unless it's like a really important reason. And I promise you can do all that and still have time for fun. And when your 4 years here in Bowling Green is done, you'll land a job and be a proud Falcon alum. We may not be the Ohio State University, but undeniably we are an Ohio State University. And every single year we graduate lots and lots of Falcons who go on and live a rich and fulfilling life. Even more so than at least a few Buckeyes. But if you want to be among them, I advise you to get to know your professors. Try to stay organized. Be sure to eat some healthy food and get a little exercise. And did I mention go to class? Go to class. Good luck, everybody. So I'll also tell you a little bit about my my family, just to give you a little bit more background about me. So here we are at my son John's wedding just a few weeks ago. This was in July 2025. And John there in the middle works for Barstool Sports. He's my oldest son, and he just married Maddie Smith, who works for Nationwide Insurance, and they live in Columbus. My son over to the right, I've got 3 boys. The 3 boys there are my kids, and those are their significant others. So Philip over on the right is my middle son. He's a lawyer in Cincinnati, and that's his wife, Hannah, who works for Blockworks, and they are Falcon Flames. And my son over to the left is Brett. He was a computer science major at BGSU. He works for Progressive Insurance and IT as a coder, developer, programmer, and that's his girlfriend, Marissa, who is an engineer in Denver. And then my wife there in the middle, although she didn't go to BGSU, she worked at BGSU like me for many years. She was a librarian here, but she retired a couple of years ago. So that's Linda, my wife. So this was the big event in my personal life this past year, my son John's wedding. So that's a little background about me. Now at the end of this quiz, this intro lecture quiz, I want you to give me a little background about you so we get to know each other. And one more thing I want to do in this intro lecture is to talk about the syllabus. I won't go through everything, but I want to highlight a few things. So you see up there my email and cell phone. I want to encourage you to call me about any sort of urgent or complicated matters. I really don't mind if you call me. Sometimes I think it's more efficient to talk through issues than to play phone tag or I guess email tag. So, but email is also acceptable. But if I don't respond quickly enough, please give me a call. I'll pick up if I can, and I'm generally available. Make sure you get the right textbook. You see the second category there, it says the textbook is required. It's version 4.0. It costs $36.95. If you happen to be on campus, there's a copy on reserve that you can access for free. I encourage you to get the online version. It costs about $37. And I already talked about how to communicate with me. Email is fine, but also calling me. Actually, I'm not a big fan of text, though, so I don't like the asynchronous form. If you're going to use my cell phone, call me, don't text me. Academic honesty is something that I have to deal with every year or two. People cheat, and I'm pretty strict on that, so please don't cheat. You can see performance evaluation, how much each thing is weighted there. Underneath the grading weights box is an important thing that you should know. If you ever see an essay question or any other type of question and you just skip it, I'm not very happy about that, and I will sometimes subtract points. So I expect you to make a good faith effort to answer all questions. And these questions are not that hard. Some might take a little bit of research. But just note that if you just skip the question, points might actually get subtracted. You can see the weekly schedule there. I have things set to be due on Thursday nights throughout the term. They generally will be available on the Saturday before, so you can do it in the weekend, or you can do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, and things are due Thursday night. So the one complication with that is Thanksgiving. Thursday, November 27th is Thanksgiving. So you can still turn them in Thursday night of Thanksgiving. If that's a busy week for you, I encourage you to turn it in before that. Look ahead. I did set those things to be due to be available till Sunday night, so I'll give you a little bit of a grace period on that 1 week. But for the most part, everything else is due on Thursday nights. So there's a lot of other information listed in pages, 3, 4, and 5 of this syllabus. I encourage you to read through everything. Again, there's a syllabus reading quiz. So some of these questions will require you to go over this syllabus carefully. So I encourage everybody to do that. A couple things I want to highlight on this page is the late submission and makeup policy. Generally, I'm not very accommodating to accept late papers unless you contact me ahead of time and give me a reason and tell me why it's going to be late. So please contact me ahead of time if all possible, or there's a good chance I won't accept the paper. And another issue I want to talk about is artificial intelligence, AI tools like ChatGPT. I don't have any rules against using AI. If you think it can help you, I'm okay with that. I do want to at least caution you a little bit and remind you that you're in college to enhance your critical thinking skills, and you should be doing reading, and you should be learning how to write. And I think if you become overly reliant on that, it can, kind of make you dumb, and I think you'll be at a disadvantage. Nevertheless, it's a hard thing to kind of navigate right now. It's all emerging, and I might change my view. But right now, I don't have any rules against using AI. In fact, I use AI all the time for all sorts of things. So I understand AI, perhaps more than others. I do have students turn in stuff that I can clearly see, well, this is generated by AI. And a lot of times it's bad. So just because you use AI doesn't mean you're going to turn in something good. You have to know how to use it. So I know I'm rambling somewhat, but again, use AI to some extent when you think it's necessary, but don't become overly reliant on it to the extent that it hurts your development of critical thinking skills, etc. Okay, so now to prove to me that you've listened to this whole video lecture, I'll give the answer to LQ6. It's roll along, those two words. Roll along, write down those two words. So that is a wrap for this introductory video lecture.